You okay? Alright. How's it going, chat? How is it going? I love that. Oh yeah, I have the um Chicago Blackhawks and the Carolina Hurricanes game up right now. So if you see me looking up like this, that's why. Because my TV is up there and I get to see you hear. Oh, Freddie Anderson, why is he back in the net? God damn it. Anyways. But yeah. Welcome to the live stream. Seattle is winning it all. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll get to my prediction. But yeah. What a divisional round. That was such a fun divisional round. Like I did in the divisional round predictions, I'm gonna do a recap of the. I'm gonna do a wild recap. Like I recapped the wild card, I'm gonna recap the divisional round, talk about it, and then we'll get to my championship picks. Currently the entire playoffs, I'm 5-5 in the playoffs. I went 2 for 2. I went 2-2 in the playoffs. I went 2-2 in the divisional round. So, so I'm around 500. If I split this championship game, then the Super Bowl is gonna have to decide it. So that's fun. Anyways, I hope I know ball, but yeah. Anyways, let's just get into the recap of the divisional round. So the first game I remember was the Bills and the Broncos. If you remember, I had the Bills winning. Wow, what a game! This was the big game to prove the Broncos are legit, and with Bo Nix, we'll obviously get to talk about Bo Nix, but yeah. I was more worried about the Broncos offense. I wasn't sure if they were going to keep scoring points, if they were going to stand up to Josh Allen. But they proved me wrong. The Broncos offense balled out. Bo Nix balled out. And Denver's defense was doing good. I think a lot of it also is the Bills shooting themselves in the foot, because the thing is like Bills were playing well. The only thing is there was stupid turnovers. They turned the ball over like 5 times. Like, I think the first one, there was a fumble. I think James Cook fumbled the ball, and then that ended up in I think the Broncos getting a touchdown on that drive. And then Josh Allen, he fumbled, and then the biggest thing was, we'll get to that, but the Bills were driving on the field, and they could have. No, the Broncos drove down the field, scored a touchdown. I think Cook's fumble caused them to get up by 7, and that touchdown, and then the Bills had to go on a drive, 2-minute drill. And then for some reason, Josh Allen just ran the ball. You're not running the ball on 2-minute drill. You're supposed to throw it. And yet Josh Allen was trying to be Superman. He ran the ball, and then he fumbled. And he fumbled the ball, gave it to the Broncos, and the Broncos got an easy 3 points. And now the Bills, instead of being down by 7, they were down by 10. So it's like, what are you doing, Josh Allen? It's like, what are you doing? And then during the time, Bills did score a touchdown, and then Denver, I think, got a field goal, and then the Bills threw an and then Josh Allen throws into double coverage and gets intercepted, and then Bo Nix, I think Bo Nix threw an interception. Well, no, I'm trying to remember. I think Broncos fumbled. I think the Bills. I think Bills I think Bo Nix had the ball, and then he got intercepted, and then Bo Nix threw an interception, and then Josh Allen had the ball in the red zone. He threw it. He threw it into double coverage and intercepted. And so the Broncos had the ball, and I think they kicked that field goal to make it 23. So it was 23, I think 17. And then the Bills scored touchdown. So the Bills go down, score touchdown. It's 24-23. They managed to stop the Broncos. They forced them to punt, and then Josh Allen drove down the field. Now, this is where I saw a big mistake here. Is they, instead of going for the touchdown, which, keep in mind, Denver, and they decided to keep it a one-point possession game and kicking a field goal to go up 27-24. Which, if you don't know about Denver this year, Denver is the 2020 is like basically the 2024 Kansas City Chiefs, where like they win in one possession games. They are like 11-2 in one possession games at the time. So it's like that's why I would have scored the touchdown. I would have scored the touchdown, and then Denver would still be down. They would be down 2 possessions, so they'd have to work down 2 possessions. So that's what I would have done if I was Buffalo, and gone for it on 4th down to go get that touchdown or the first down. It wasn't even 1st and goal. It wasn't even 4th and goal. So it's like, and then that came back to bite them because Denver drove down the field, scored a touchdown, and then the Bills had to go kick a game-tying field goal, which that doesn't happen often for the Bills because usually kicking is where they choke. But they kicked it. They tied the game. It was 30-30. We're going into overtime. Okay? And so this was a crazy game. And then I think Bo Nix, they had the ball first. They were driving down, and then they had the punt. So Bo Nix, Bills got to stop. They had to punt. And then Buffalo got the ball back. And then Josh Allen tried to throw a deep ball to, I think, Brandon Cooks. And then he got intercepted. Which you could argue whether or not that was an interception and if Brandon Cooks was down. But he wouldn't have been but I would argue if he was, if the ball was secured, then the defender couldn't have stripped it out. That's just the thing. He couldn't have stripped it out if the ball was secured. That's the thing. Yes, his knee was down, but there's no way that ball is secured if he could just easily just grab it out. And so I think that was an interception. So Bo Nix had the ball. They drove down the field. And so the next score wins. And then there was a pass, and then there was the refs. They called a pass interference. They called pass interference on the bum Buffalo twice. And then the defender, I think, crashed out on the side, and that got in sportsmanlike conduct. So it made a field goal easier. And then, kicked it, game winner, Broncos win, and Buffalo goes home without Burrow or Mahomes or Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. Good Lord, Buffalo is sad. And yeah, I was just thinking about it because the refs are kind of weird too. Because like there was early in the game, I remember this early in the game. There was I think a Broncos receiver fumbled, and then they got the ball. However, it didn't matter because there was an offside. But the way the refs said it, because it's like the refs was like the ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. However, offsides defense. It's like, why do you need to mention that it was a fumble recovered by the defense if the defense had a penalty? It's like, why do you even mention that? Same thing what happened to Detroit. Because if you remember, think back to the Steelers-Lions game. And it was that last drive, and then Amon-Ra had that OPI, and then he passed it to Goff, and Goff ran it in for the touchdown that would have won them the game. However, the refs decided to go, ruling on the field is a touchdown. However, pass interference, offense. It's like, why do you need to mention that to blue ball the entire fan base if you're just going to call it back? Like, that's the problem I had there. So, yeah, early PTSD. But, yeah, the Broncos, they won, but at what cost? Sure, Buffalo had it. They lost in the division round again. They now fired Sean McDermott. Josh Allen was in tears. I mean, that heartbreaking loss for Buffalo. But it came at a cost because after like 30 minutes, I think after the game, it was announced that Bo Nix fractured a bone in his ankle, so he will not be playing for the rest of the playoffs. That means Jarrett Stidham is going to be the quarterback for the Broncos, which we're going to get to talk about him when we get to the predicting the AFC Championship game. Okay. Yeah, what a game that was. I think that was the best game. I think score-wise and back and forth, I think Bills-Broncos was the best game. Now let's get to the fun game. The fun game. I'm going to hear it. All right. Let me go ahead and private that stream real quick. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding. I'm going to own up to it. I'll take the L. I'll take the L on this one. So, yeah, 49ers versus Seahawks. It was a sharp play. I thought the 49ers actually had a shot to keep the game close. And I knew it was cooked when that freaking kickoff game, I watched live of Rashid Shaheed taking that ball all the way to the freaking touchdown. And I knew in the back of my head, yeah, this is cooked. This is going to be belt to ass. Watch this. And yeah, thing is, you cannot have a worse shot. You cannot have a worse start than what the San Francisco 49ers just had. Because think about this. Kickoff return, touchdown. It was already 7-0. We just started this game. It was like 13 seconds in. And then 49ers got the ball. Sam Darnold didn't even get on the field. And then 49ers, they got a first down, and then they turned it over on downs. And it was like, they turned it over on downs, so they got Seattle the ball back. But then they stopped Seattle, they kicked the field goal. It was like, okay, 49ers may be able to try next game. Next drive, fumble. The freaking tight end, I don't remember who his fucking name is, but he fumbled. He fumbled the ball. Seattle got it back, and then Darnold was just locked in. He lasered that thing to JSN. That was a friggin' awesome throwing catch. I will give it that. But, like, as soon as I saw that, I said, nothing's going to go right for the 49ers. They were lucky to even get 6 points. And the thing is like, they were up 17-0 in the freaking first quarter. The game just started. And the only points the 49ers got was 6 points. And then the rest of that was just belt to ass by the freaking Seattle Seahawks the entire game. They were just playing with their food at that point. Kenneth Walker, even though the thing is, Charbonnet did go down with a concussion. He's not going to be back for the rest of the playoffs. But you got Kenneth Walker. You got K9. And that dude is a freaking monster. I mean, that dude had 3 touchdowns in that entire game. He had 3 touchdowns. I mean, I will give him this. This is what he's one of. I really am happy to see Kenneth Walker play because I've seen him play. I especially remember first time watching it. I remember watching him play Detroit last year. He was a beast. He was a beast. I don't know what it is. Seattle just always has good running backs. I don't know what it is. They had Marshawn Lynch, and now they have Kenneth. They had Marshawn Lynch, and they got Kenneth Walker. So it's like, why does Seattle know how to get good running backs and know when to move off of quarterbacks? Yeah, it's like. And then you think about this. The defense was just locked in. Purdy couldn't do nothing. I mean, Purdy was picked off like 2 or 3 times. Mac Jones had come in for them. And it's like, bro, Brock Purdy, man. And Brock Purdy was crying on the sidelines and is like, yeah. Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, he can't beat him in the postseason. I mean, postseason 49ers. I thought the 49ers choke was going to happen in the NFC Championship game, but it choked. But they just choked a little earlier this year. I think just the injuries caught up to him. I think he was too much. Yeah, the 49ers, they beat the freaking Eagles, which, think about it now, the Eagles' offense sucks balls. So that wasn't really that big of a win. Now, and it's worse for the Eagles because they have to watch the 49ers get belt to ass from their couch. And now, considering Seattle won, I think like 41 or 46 or 41-6 and stuff. And we saw Mac Jones even playing that game, which I did say Mac Jones. I did say possibly Mac Jones. So I was right. Mac Jones was going to be in it somehow. But, yeah. But, yeah, 49ers, belt to ass. Miracle season for the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey's probably going to win Comeback Player of the Year. Christian McCaffrey's a beast, but he wasn't enough to will his team. So he could only will his team so far. And Brock Purdy could only will his team so far before they had to get stopped by a wall, which was the Seattle Seahawks. Which, good shit from Seattle, made me look stupid. And that's what I wanted to see. That is what I wanted to see from the Seahawks. Could Darnold perform in the playoffs? Could the Seahawks win? Because this was perfect complementary football from the Seahawks. I mean, offense clicking, defense, the dark side was clicking, and the freaking special teams was clicking. Everything was going Seattle. Everything was going Seattle's way. So that is a near perfect football game from Seattle. I have to give them their flowers. I have to give them it. And so, yeah, and this is a huge loss for the 49ers too, because it's guaranteed one of their rivals is going to be playing the Super Bowl in their stadium. Yep. So, yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that game. But yeah, good shit, Seattle. Made me look like an idiot. And so, yeah. Now let's get on to the Sunday games. So this game, the Houston Texans versus the New England Patriots. I picked the Patriots. So yeah, I was 0-2 in the divisional round so far because I had the Bills winning, and I had the 49ers winning. So now I just want to at least win one. And thankfully, I got one right. It was the Patriots. I mean, CJ, I knew my scares, my worries of the Texans were right. That defense can only carry them so far. But CJ Stroud, man, I hate to see it. CJ Stroud had such a wonderful rookie year, and he's fallen off a cliff. I mean, that dude, he threw like 4 interceptions. Dude couldn't hang on to the ball to take a sack. They couldn't protect the football if his life depended on it. So, he couldn't protect the football if his life depended on it. I mean, it's not like Drake May and the Patriots had that good of a game either. I think there was fumbles. I think Drake May threw 2 picks. I think Drake May fumbled the ball. So it wasn't a perfect game for the Patriots by any means. I think it's just the Patriots just outplayed CJ Stroud. I think Drake May outplayed CJ Stroud, and Drake May and the Patriots did what they needed to do to win. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't blowout, but it was. But it got them the win. It got them the win. It's just freaking Houston, man. See, I don't know what's going to happen with CJ Stroud. I assume they're going to keep him, but like if they keep him, then next year's his make or break year. And if that's not the case, he's probably going to get cut. I don't want to say that because CJ Stroud had a good rookie year. And the thing is, Bryce Young is about playing better than CJ has this year. The only thing CJ has over Bryce Young is playoff wins, and he only has 3 of them. Which, think about this. What are the three playoff teams that Houston has beaten? CJ Stroud's beaten. Let's think back. Let's think about the Joe Flacco-led Cleveland Browns in his rookie year. He beat the Joe Flacco-led Cinderella-run Cleveland Browns. They beat the Los Angeles Chargers playing if-man, and he chokes hard in the playoffs. And then they played the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers, who repeatedly gets 10-7 or 9-8 and chokes in the playoffs. It's every single year. So it's like they've not played anyone good. They have not played anyone good in the wild card. And so those 3 were not even good wins. Who did Bryce Young have to play in his first playoff game? Oh, that's right, the Rams, and they're a Super Bowl contender. But yeah. So there. Good shit, New England Patriots. I actually one of those plays I won, and now Patriots are gonna go face Denver in the AFC Championship game. Now, last divisional round game. Let's talk about the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Chicago Bears. I did not watch a lot of this game because I was out busy doing other stuff. But I'm so glad I watched the end of it. But yeah, it was a nasty snowing game. I mean, I think the Rams scored, and then the Bears scored, and then it was like 10-10 and stuff. It didn't get too crazy until the end of this game. I mean, Caleb Williams threw interceptions. I think Stafford's also had mistakes, but yeah, it was a close game, and the Bears and the Rams were just throwing things at each other. And so Yeah. And I think this, at the biggest plays for me was, I think Stafford, they drove down the field. I think they ran it in or threw someone, and the Blackhawks scored. Fuck me. Anyways, the Freddie Anderson, why is he in the net? But anyways, that's hockey. We were talking football. But yeah. Then afterwards, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think Stafford drove down the field. I think Devontae Adams or Kyron Williams, or I think Kyron Williams was the one that ran it in for a touchdown. So yeah, it was 17-0 Rams. It was 17-10 Rams. And then Caleb Williams with ice in his veins. He's been doing this shit for the near the end of the season. They did it against Green Bay. He did it against Green Bay, throwing that deep ball to DJ Moore for that game-winning for that win. And then he threw an absolute fall on his back dime towards to Rome Odunze, which was crazy. And he came back from a 21-3 deficit. And then in this game, what happens? It was 4th down. Caleb Williams scrambling for his life. He was around the 40. And then he just chucks that thing, falling back across the freaking field. Who is there? A blown coverage of Cole Kmet, and it drops it in the bucket for a touchdown. I was losing my mind. I had the Rams to win this game against the Bears. And then Caleb Williams does this shit. And it's like, it was insane. Like, I'd never seen that in my life in football. That's one of the greatest plays I've ever seen. And so, like, wow. Like, I was shocked. And then this game also went into overtime. So it's like, hold on, let me take someone here. There we go. Like, I was going crazy. And then I'm trying to think. But I lost track now. But yeah, it was overtime. I think the Rams had the ball first, and then the Bears actually forced the Rams to punt. And then the Bears got the ball back. Caleb Williams was actually driving down the field. They were going for it. They actually had an opportunity, because the next score, a field goal by the Bears, would have won them this game and sent them to the NFC Championship game. But I mean, that would, but like only a field goal would have sent the Bears to the NFC Championship game. Thing is, DJ Moore. And I love DJ Moore. As a Carolina guy, I love DJ Moore for when he played in Carolina. But dude just was jogging on his route, and it caused Caleb Williams to throw an interception. And then the Bears never got the ball back because the Rams just drove down the field with ease. And then the Rams kicked the game-winning field goal. And then that sent the Bears home and the Rams to the NFC Championship game. Which, holy, that was peak football there. And one of the best games I've watched of this entire game. One of the best fourth quarters I've ever seen. Oh, the Canes scored. Let's go, Canes. Let's go, Canes. We're surviving. We're surviving here. But yeah, what a game. And now the Rams are going to the NFC Championship game to face Seattle there, and one game away from going to the Super Bowl. Now, let's go ahead and now let's get to the predictions. And so so we're gonna start off here. So yeah, I went 5-5. Let me see here. So I went 5-5. I went 2-2 in the divisional round. Yeah, I had the Bills, 49ers, Patriots, and Rams. I got 2 of 2. So yeah, well, hopefully I do better. I hope I go 2-0. We'll see, in the championship games, because if I go 2-0, then I'll guaranteed have a winning record. So yay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get started with the championship games. So let's start off first game, AFC championship game. So we got the 2 seed New England Patriots taking on the 1 seed Denver Broncos. Yeah. Things are not looking too good for Denver right now. Denver lost Bo Nix, their starting quarterback, so now they're now having to go start up Jason Stidham. Jason Stidham is their quarterback for their backup quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Which let me check the spread on that game. I think it might be New England. So yeah. Is the spread out? I know the spread has to be out. There's no way. Yeah, New England is favored in this game by 4.5 points. It's mainly because Denver does not have their starting quarterback. That is Jason Stidham's having to play for them. Unless Jason Stidham could channel his inner Nick Foles, I don't know if Denver can keep up. The defense is gonna keep them in this game. I think New England is gonna make mistakes in this game. I feel like this is the perfect defensive game. I think this is going to be defensive, low-scoring defensive game where I think Drake May is going to make mistakes. I think Jason Stidham is going to make mistakes. But I think it's just going to depend who is going to want it more, who is going to make the plays to get them to win this game. This is not going to be belt to ass. I'm just saying it right now. This is not going to be belt to ass. I think Denver's defense is way too good for belt to ass. So, yeah. I think Drake May and New England Patriots are in such a good schedule. You could call it a Mickey Mouse schedule, but you were propping up that the Houston Texans were going to be the first. For the people like the Patriots haters, I will say, anyone that's doubted the Patriots because they haven't played anybody good, and then it's like, this is going to be the real test. The Houston Texans. Look what happened to the Houston Texans. They shot themselves in the foot. And then also, Patriots also have a defense. So, because don't forget, they have Mike Vrabel. They have Mike Vrabel as their defensive coordinator, as their head coach. And he's defensive. But, yeah. Mike Vrabel, first year as the New England head coach, and then the Patriots are already back in the NFC Championship, AFC Championship game, and they're going to play the Denver Broncos. I think in this game, it's going to be low scoring. Both teams are going to make mistakes. But I think New England's going to want it more. I think New England is going to win by a field goal. I think New England is probably going to win by a field goal. If the spread is 4.5, if I was a betting man, I would pick New England wins, Denver covers, because I think this spells out a 3-point win for the Patriots, and Denver covers. I think I pick New England to go to the Super Bowl. I think I know New England is favored. I know anything could happen. Jason Stidham could activate his inner Nick Foles and go play, go ball out. But I don't see it. I don't see it being enough to stop Drake May. I think Drake May, his second year in the league, by the way, Drake May, is going to go to the Super Bowl. First year under Mike Vrabel, I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. What is that? Is that a bug? Probably. Okay. Oh, that was a previous score. I thought they scored again. I was about to crash out. But, yeah. Now, yeah, that was it. Give me the New England Patriots to barely win by a field goal, and New England to go to the Super Bowl, or go back to the Super Bowl, because they haven't been in the Super Bowl in a long time. I don't remember. the last time they went. But yeah, New England, I'm taking them to go back to the Super Bowl. So yeah, and now now this is the big game I'm really waiting for. I've been waiting for this game, and I got this matchup. Predicted I predicted this was going to be the matchup for the NFC Championship game in my first bracket fill out when I filled out my bracket, and I got that right. And so now we have the 5 seed Los Angeles Rams taking on the 1 seed Seattle Seahawks. I had this game picked for my bracket, and I did, and then I got it right. So both these teams, I knew both these teams we're gonna be seeing each other again in the playoffs, whether it be divisional round or championship game. I think the Rams are just hungry. They want to play Seattle. I mean, I think this was, even if Seattle was the 1 seed, this was the worst path to go down because, I mean, the 49ers would have, because, I mean, the 49ers, division rival, you don't know what you're going to get. And so, and it just turned out it was a good game. It was a good day for Seattle because they put belt to ass to the 49ers. Meanwhile, I know because Seattle is favored in this game by 2.5 points. Now, this is going to be the 3rd time that both these teams have played each other. Both of them have been interesting. First game, let's recap all the Rams-Seattle games. So let's first on how these teams got here. So first off, last week, Seattle, number 1 seed, they beat the living crap out of the 49ers to get to the NFC Championship game and host it. And then the Rams have had to go play 2 games to get to this point. So, the first game, the Carolina Panthers. They were in a dogfight with the Carolina Panthers. Panthers matched up well with them. They were going to prove something too. And then the Rams, MVP Stafford locked in, and then he got them down and won them that game against the Panthers. Then the Bears, it was a slow game. It was the snow. It was cold. It was a grindy game. But yeah, and Seattle, and then the Rams, they ended up beating the Bears. They won. They got the job done. And now they're going to face Seattle Seahawks in the NFC Championship game. Now, I will tell you right now, from face value, this is looking like another built to ass by the Seahawks. Because, think about it, Rams had a tough path to get up here. 4 seed through everything they had at the Rams. And then the Bears were fighting hard with them. So, and they've not looked 100%. They've not looked all clicking on all cylinders. And so now they have to face one of, if not the best team in the NFL right now sitting. And that's the Seattle Seahawks. On the road, in their stadium, which they played earlier, but that is not the Seattle Seahawks stadium of old. This is the playoff Seattle Seahawks. This is playoff Seattle Seahawks Stadium. Okay? Think about this difference. You want to know the biggest thing is known for that Seattle Seahawks Stadium? Beastquake. If you don't know that stadium, if you know what Beastquake is, you know what Beastquake is. That stadium was so loud to the point where it was like registered. It was shaking for an earthquake. It didn't cause an earthquake, but it was that loud. That is, I will give it to you right now, that is playoff Seattle. That is playoff Seattle. Rams haven't played there. So think about this. Think about the game, the Thursday night game that was had for the Rams in Seattle, and it amplified the volume by times 5. I think that's what Rams are getting themselves into. And don't think about this. Rams have been in tough places because they had to go to Charlotte. They had to travel all the way cross country to go play Carolina, and that's cold. And then they got to go to Chicago. That's very cold. It was snowing there. They literally had to put like spices in their socks to try to keep warm. And then, and so they had a tough road. And now I think this is going to be the toughest road they got to go through. They got to go through one of the loudest places in the NFL, one of the loudest, the best home field advantages in the NFL in Seattle. So everything is looking up for the Seattle Seahawks. Everything is. Now, who do I pick this game? Now, I'm thinking back this year to the Rams, this matchup here, because they played each other twice. They're division rivals. And also a huge loss for the 49ers, because either one of their division rivals is going to be playing in their stadium in the Super Bowl. And so, thinking about this, the first game they played was Seattle and the Rams. And then the Rams, that was more so of a defensive game. Rams didn't play their best ball that game. Seattle didn't play their best ball. Seattle definitely didn't play their best ball because, Darnold was seeing ghosts that day. And then they also, Seahawks also missed a kick that could have tied that game. But, it wasn't. And then the Rams ended up taking that one in Los Angeles. Seattle, though, the second game was the crazy one. Because think about this. Rams had like a huge lead going in that game. They looked like they were just going to run away with it. But when that punt was returned by a touchdown from not only from Rashid Shaheed, that's when things started turning around. That's when Seattle just stormed back. Darnold was just locked in. The ghosts were gone. He was slinging the rock. They were clutch in that game. And then they got that crazy 2-point conversion. And then they forced the game. And they came all the way back in the fourth quarter to tie the game. And so now, Seattle. And then it was overtime. Rams got the ball first. Easily drove down there. Touchdown. And then the Seahawks, there's something in there. I know that. I'll get to that later. But then Seattle, they drove all the way down the field. Then they scored a touchdown. And then I knew they were going to go for two. Because if they tied, then they would have benefited the Rams. So they went for two. They were going for the win. And they easy sling to the tight end, win the game. And then that's what won Seattle that game. What a game that was. It was one of the best games of the year. Which I will rank that game in my best primetime games once we're done with the Super Bowl. So, Anyways, that's what we've seen. They split the series 1-1, and now they're playing each other again for all the marbles. So this is whoever wins this game is going to the Super Bowl. I knew both these teams are going to be back facing each other again, and now this is all for all the marbles. So think about this. In this current game, who do I think is going to go to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl? I'm conflicted because Seattle, I said this too in my bracket video, filling it out. Seattle has a super team. Rams also has a super team. They have an MVP candidate in Matthew Stafford. So both of these teams are Super Bowl contenders. I will give them that. Both of these teams are in for a Super Bowl run. So and if you remember the bracket video, when I filled it out, I picked in this matchup here, I picked the Rams to go into Seattle and beat them to go to the Super Bowl. A lot has changed since then, because obviously Seattle stomped the 49ers. Then Rams, they had a dogfight with the Carolina Panthers. Then they had to go to Chicago, and they played a deep, grinding, nasty game against Chicago. But they did what they needed to do to win those games. That's important if you're a team. If you're a team like the Rams. Seattle, they did what they needed to do too. Because think about this. Week 18, they absolutely shut down the 49ers. They shut down the 49ers, and then they got the 1 seed. And then they absolutely took the belt and whipped the 49ers in the divisional round. That is what I want to see from the Seattle Seahawks. Oh yeah, there is a bug. Okay. I knew it. But yeah. Anyways, if that bug is going to be annoying. No, I'm going to let it out. I'm going to be right back, chat. Come here. Come on. Is that bug going to go? Whatever. He'll fly back. But yeah. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So now this matchup is here. Rams arguably had a much tougher road. They had to go on the road, and it's not easy to go, and it's not easy to win on the road. So the AFC, they took in some stuff, and Seattle, they're hosting the NFC Championship game. Now, does my opinion change? Because I had the Rams to go to the Super Bowl in my bracket video. Now, a lot has changed. Belt to ass 49ers, and then the Rams had the dogfight both the Panthers and the Bears. And now they have to go see, and then they face each other in the NFC Championship. So, after the results I've seen from both teams, does this change my opinion for who I think is going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl? Think about this. Darnold, Stafford, 49ers belt to ass, struggled path. Nope, my opinion doesn't change. I'm taking the Rams. Fuck it. I'm taking the Rams. I hope to go 1-for-1, and my decision will be dependent on the Super Bowl. I don't care. I'm big and ballsy on this one. I'm gambling once again. Give me the Rams to upset the Seattle Seahawks once again. I don't think Seattle can beat them again. They had to work miracles to beat them the first time, to come back and beat them, and they nearly got swept by the Rams. I think the Rams. I think Stafford's going to do when he goes up to Seattle, he's going to do the same thing that they did to the Carolina Panthers. They're going to go in there and rip their fucking hearts out. That's what I think Rams are going to do. I think that's what Matthew Stafford has done to the Seahawks for so long. I think the more things change, the more things stay the same. I think the Rams and Matthew Stafford are going to go to Seattle, shut them up, beat them, and then go to the Super Bowl. I think Rams have the experience. They have the talent. I think Stafford is an MVP candidate. I think dude is just going to go all off. I think this is going to be a classic rip the Seahawks hearts out and go to the Super Bowl. I think that's the classic Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford type way they go through. And then they go to the Super Bowl. That's exactly what the Rams did to the Saints. That's exactly what the Rams did to the Saints. Remember, Rams, they went on the road to face the Saints in that Super Bowl run where that was that BS pass interference that was not called. And then think about this, the NFC Championship game they were in 2021 where the 49ers went to LA and then the 49er dropped an interception and the Rams ended up winning that game. I think the same thing is going to happen in this game. I think something like Darnold, is going to throw a game-sealing pick. I think the Rams on the road as a wild card are going to the Super Bowl. That's my pick. Now, will this make me look stupid? Probably, because Seattle's a super team. So are the Rams. I argue the Rams are a Super Bowl team. I think the Rams had a harder schedule to get through. Think about this. Who did the Seahawks have to face? They had to face the 49ers, who are banged up to hell, and they barely beat a Philadelphia team that sucks balls. So it's like, who have they played? I mean, think about this. The biggest games they played in, Seattle does what they need to do. They belt to ass the bad teams, but can they beat the good teams? Can they beat the good teams, is my question. Do you think Seattle is going to be able to have a chance, is going to be able to win in the bright lights against a super team like the Rams? My honest question is no. I don't think so. I think Darnold's going to choke. I just see the writing. I just see where I don't think it's going to go the way Seattle fans think it is. I think I mean, do they have a good shot? Absolutely, they have a good shot. And if they go to the Super Bowl, I'll shut my mouth and I'll pick them to probably win the Super Bowl. But I just don't know. I just don't see it. We'll see. But obviously, we'll see when the championship game comes around. I think this is going to be a dogfight. Can Seattle win in a dogfight? Will Seattle win in the dogfight? I think Seattle can win in a defense. If this was defensive, I think Seattle's got that. I think Seattle's got it if it's a defensive game. But if it's an offensive shootout, I'm picking the Rams all day. I'm picking the Rams all day for if it's an offensive shootout. But yeah, anyways, that's it for my predictions. I have the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams to go to the Super Bowl. So you will see what happens. It's going to be a rematch of Super Bowl 53. I'm pretty sure Super Bowl 53. I think is going to be a rematch. So we'll see. Stafford, as I predicted, I think Matthew Stafford is going to go to the Super Bowl probably. And I predicted the Rams to get another ring. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, if Seattle makes me look stupid, I'm gonna take the L. I already took one L from the Seahawks already this playoff run because I picked the 49ers to upset, and look what happened. But I don't think the Rams are doing the same thing. The Rams are not the 49ers. I think the Rams are gonna go in there and rip their hearts out. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna end this here. We'll see what happens. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to watch the championship games, and I can't wait to predict the Super Bowl. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one. See you guys.